who is going to be the first to say, oh, New Orleans is in the house, first in the house, Sister Caroline Lindsay. All right, I try to do this every single week. I see San Francisco in the house, Washington, D.C. That's where I'm at tonight. Tokyo, Japan. Asia, we are worldwide tonight. Maryland is in the house. Charlotte is in the house. Queens, New York is in the house. Brooklyn, always in the house. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I know about South Carolina's in the house. Rock Hill, South Carolina is in the house. Houston, Texas is in the house. What up, though? Detroit is in the house. Jacksonville, Atlanta, Baltimore, Columbia, Los Angeles, my other city, San Diego, Durham, Chicago, New Jersey, Ohio, North Carolina is in the house. Florence, South Carolina is in the house. Raleigh, Pasadena, California, Detroit, Michigan. Oh my goodness, sisters. Oh, Kingston, Jamaica is in the house. We are truly worldwide. St. Louis. Big love to our good sister, former mayor Tashara Jones. St. Louis, you are all represented. Delaware is in the house, home of our sister, Senator Lisa Blunt, Rochester. So good evening. Midway, Georgia is in the house. And I see Wilson, Virginia, Philadelphia is in the house. So many sisters in the house. Welcome to Win with Black Women. My name is Shoteka Edie, and I am so honored to join Black women most Sunday nights. And right now, we just started, and there are more than 1,200 of you on this call. For those of you who are joining for the first time, Win with Black Women, we are a network of Black women leaders from every single sector in America. We are Black women in entertainment, Black women in movement building, Black women in sports. We are Black women in finance, Black women in Silicon Valley, Black women in faith, Black women in education, Black women public servants. We are Black women who care about our communities and ourselves and the people that we love the most, our families and the communities that we serve every single day. Well, if you're joining us, maybe you've been with us since we launched in 2020, when Black women came together out of our collective concern around the narrative of how Black women were being discussed in the 2020 election. In August of 2020, there were 90 of us that got on a Zoom call. We ended up staying on pretty late that night, penned an open letter, and in about 48 hours, there were more than 2,000 Black women who had signed on to that open letter. We decided to follow in the footsteps of Black women organizations and Black women leaders who had laid the groundwork and the pathway, who had been calling for Black women to have their rightful place on the ballot box and calling for there to be a Black woman to be named vice presidential candidate at the time. And we together, in support of Black women's organizations and the leadership of Black women who had paved the way, worked very hard to advocate for what became a historic moment in seeing not only the candidacy, but the election of our nation's first Black woman Vice President Kamala Harris. But we decided to continue our work across not only the political realm, but also in entertainment and in business. And we've done so much together, whether it's been our work in collective with Black women organizations to see a historic number of Black women appointed in the Biden-Harris administration, whether it has been our first Black woman on the Federal Reserve Board or our first Black woman on the U.S. Supreme Court, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, or the work that we did in partnership and following the leadership of the WNBA Players Association and advocating for our sister Brittany Griner to be home where she is today, or our work to advocate and fight for representation in Hollywood when we bought out more than 100 theaters on the opening weekend of The Little Mermaid to show America that, yes, The Little Mermaid could have hair like mine and skin like mine as well. And also our work, which we'll talk about again tonight, our work to advocate for Black women across this country, like our sister AJ Owens, in making sure that we advocate for justice in her case, in the unfortunate murder of our sister AJ Owens. That is the work of Win with Black Women, and that is the work that we continue to do. And many of you joined us over a year ago on a historic call, which was a Sunday night just like this, but that call grew to more than 44,000 Black women on one Zoom and approximately 100,000 people in other platforms watching that Zoom. And that night, with the leadership of Star Jones, we raised $1.6 million in 100 minutes and inspired more than 200 Zooms for Kamala, raising more than $20 million for the Kamala Harris campaign. That is you, and that is the work. And on this International Women's Day, we salute you, because Win with Black Women, we wouldn't be Win with Black Women without each and every one of you. And in honor of International Women's Day, we would like to share this video that was created by our digital and social team. Shout out Sister Holly Weeks. But the song is very, very special because the song was written by our very own Sister Spice, who was inspired by Win with Black Women and wrote this song, the music to this song, and the words to this song. And we now want to share this song in honor of each and every one of you for International Women's Day.
Mr. Chairman, and to the Credentials Committee.
Black women win forever. They marched, they spoke, they stayed. We walked the path they made. Now in this circle here we
thank you for your
stand.
love.
We carry forward what they began. We shape tomorrow with our hands.
I am here to tell you that this is what believing looks like. This is what striving looks like.
Black women win, black women lead, black women rise. Black women win, black women.
You women better wake up if you want to help to change America around. You do the work. You better wake up. And don't be afraid.
From whispers past to voices now. We shape the world as we know how. When Georgia calls, we answer strong.
Representing Win with Black Women.
1,000 sisters, one shared soul. Black women win, black women lead, black women rise.
Many of us have been in the trenches of this fight for a long time, and we are not surprised.
Black women win, black women lead, black women rise.
Today we come before you, walking on the road to jobs, the road to peace.
Black women win.
that I've had a part to play in your life to help mentor you to be women, to carry on the spirit of Mary McLeod Bethune, to carry on the spirit of Sojourner Truth, to carry on the spirit for all these warriors that have passed.
Black women win. And Sister Spice, everybody is asking how we can get that song. I just wanted to make sure that we give you your flowers. I am in tears. Thank you so much for just your beautiful words and the music. And you can see in the chat that everyone is just so moved. And Sister Holly Weeks, the beautiful visuals and sound. God don't make mistakes, because she was like, I didn't mean to have all the sound over the music, but the sound and the music goes together perfectly. Sister Spice, we just want to give you a few moments and also say thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh my goodness, what an honor this is, and to let everyone hear that gift for you and your team. I'm just speechless almost. I thank you all so much for what you do for us. And I was like, I have this talent. Why don't I use it to do it? And the part that got me was the one time when you were saying, yeah, everybody, let's say whoop de whoop, and all this. And I was like, well, I went to bed doing some whoop de whoop. And so I had to throw it in this song, because it's like whoop de whoop means a lot to us. Grew up with the whoop de whoop. So, but anyway, but I will have to see how I can get this song to everyone.
Well, we will get it out. We'll make
Yes.
sure we will send it out to everyone, and we will also make sure it's on our socials. But we wanted to just come and
Oh,
give you
okay.
your flowers and say thank you. Bye.
Oh,
Thank
I
you. And we want you to
appreciate you.
see in the chat all the love that you're getting.
I see. Oh my
Yes.
God. This
Well,
is
thank you, thank you,
wonderful.
thank you. Thank you, everybody. Sister Spice Sorrell. So thank you, Sister Spice.
Okay, you're
Thank you.
welcome.
Well, sisters, I want to make sure that we are opening in the spirit and closing in the spirit. And that song that Sister Spice created for us is certainly in the spirit, but also helping to open us in the spirit. No stranger to the Win with Black Women stage. Sister Pitchy Peachy, welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Absolutely. I greet everyone. Happy International Women's Day. I mean, that song was so awesome. It prepared the atmosphere so that we can open up in prayer today. And we want to say thank you for all the women that are there, all my sisters that are here, that is with us, and that's here every Sunday. We thank you for being here and being part of the plan. So if you can bow your head, and if you can, for those who are not able to bow their head, for those who are participating, we wanted to open up in prayer. As Sister Joteka said, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for a day that we have never seen before. Father God, we will rejoice and be glad in this day. We thank you for what you've been doing with Black women throughout the history of time, from the beginning of time, Father. We thank you, Lord God, that you continue to strengthen us, that we can take charge and continue the work that you have prepared for us on this earth. Father God, we pray right now that we will continue to walk in love, humility, God, and peace, God. And Father God, with one accord, God, so that the goals and the visions that we have set forth, God, will be completed to the ultimate sacrifice that you have done for us. So, Father, we thank you. We honor you, God. And Father God, we ask that you give us the power that we need, God. You give us the direction that we need, God. You give us the money that we would need to continue the work that you have for us and that you have laid before us, God. And so, Father God, we ask that you will continue in the spirit of sisterhood, God, and that we will celebrate women every day in any way, God. Father, we thank you. We honor you. We glorify your name, and we seal this prayer in the precious blood of the Lamb. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Sister Pitchy. Well, sisters, we have a phenomenal lineup tonight, and I don't want to keep you from these great, amazing Black women experts and Black women warriors that will come and speak with us tonight. Our first speaker needs no introduction. She has been a part of Win with Black Women since the very beginning. She is a warrior. She is a fighter. She is a public servant. She is one of our sister warriors in the conscience of the Congress, the Congressional Black Caucus. And we always love it when our sisters from the Congressional Black Caucus are able to join us. But before we bring up this speaker, let's roll this clip to see her representing us all as she does so well.
Mr. Speaker, I rise on behalf of the grieving families of the service members killed. I rise on behalf of the little girls in Iran killed by bombs raining down on their schools. Constituents in my district are horrified to see the United States and Israel launch a war with Iran that has already spread to a dozen more countries. Parents are clutching their young sons as they remember stories from their grandparents about the boys sacrificed to the draft. They see the baby girls in Iran, their small bodies decimated as their own daughters. Mr. Speaker, I implore my colleagues, when a nation loses care and concern for children, all the children, a nation becomes irredeemable. The children of the world are all of ours, always. Small men wage endless wars because they are looking to profit. They believe their privilege and connections will shelter their own children from the frontline horrors of war, but our destinies are tied, Mr. Speaker. We rise and fall together. Trump has no plan of how many lives will be sacrificed before it is enough. We will not tolerate his callous disregard for human life. End this war now.
Sisters, welcome back to the Win with Black Women stage. Our good sister representing Massachusetts, Representative Ayanna Pressley. Welcome back, my sister.
Thank you, Joteka. So good to be with you, sisters, in virtual community once again, especially on International Women's Day. Sister Spice, thank you for that new anthem. Whoop-de-whoop. Yes, Black women lead on the front lines of everything. We are indeed the blueprint, the architects of progress, community builders, movement builders, justice seekers, table shakers. It's wonderful to be with you. Good evening. I must say, though, I appreciate that joyful anthem. My heart is weighing so much in this moment. I've been sitting with the profound truth that, though it gives me no comfort to say this, Black women have been right about everything. We have forecast so many of the deeply consequential times we find ourselves in, and these moments of consequence. We predicted this moment, those looking to exact harm, to come for our families, to target anyone who works for a more just world. They want us to feel small and hopeless. They want us to lose sight of our power, but we are powerful. We are not in an unprecedented chapter of history. It is very precedented. This is one of the reasons why I think they are working so actively to whitewash history. As we reflect on Black history is actionable for Black futures. It gives us the roadmap. The blueprint for our survival has already been written. So again, this is a very precedented moment. It echoes themes and tools of every chapter of harm in our nation. So I find myself repeatedly turning to our ancestors, emboldened by the fact that the blueprint for our survival has already been written, that what we are called to do in this moment is to listen and then to act. Now, one thing this White House has been particularly effective at is a tool really as old as this nation, pitting those who would be part of a multiracial coalition for justice against one another. Now, I saw it on the ground in Texas. I hear it echoed in the drumbeat of war. The mother who cries out for her son murdered by ICE is the same cry as the mother who cries out for her baby girl murdered in an airstrike, is the same cry as the mother who cries out for her son in uniform killed in Trump's war. They want us to believe that our differences are insurmountable, when the reality is our freedoms and our destinies are tied. And the path to freedom is solidarity. Just this week, a constituent of mine, a Haitian migrant, died in ICE custody. He was a Black man with a record, and as a loving father of two, he was denied medical care. Now, what started as a toothache escalated to sepsis that killed him. Now, my office and I have been fighting for days to get basic accountability for his family. They have even been denied a full autopsy while his body languishes in a funeral home as his earthly vessel becomes a decaying crime scene. It is not lost on me that while being an immigrant from Haiti is part of his story and lived experience, so too is being a Black man denied his dignity in health and killed by denial of treatment behind the wall. As I've said many times before, if you care about the crisis that is mass incarceration, recognizing the for-profit system that drives the sentencing disparities and the confinement of poor folks and Black folks, it's two sides of the same white supremacist for-profit coin that is incentivizing the unlawful detainment and deporting of our immigrant neighbors in ICE facilities. It's driven by the same for-profit system. If you care about mass deportation, you must care about, or rather mass incarceration, you must care about mass kidnapping. I can't even call it mass deportation because it's a complete denial of constitutional process and constitutional rights and due process. But the point is, it is not us versus them. It is all of us together versus injustice. Now, as you saw there, this week I stood on the House floor and tried to humanize the Iranian children killed by U.S. bombs. I appealed to not just our better angels, but our common sense. This war is not strategic. We've no evidence that this is in the best interest of the American people or national security and safety. Donald Trump is not a man with a plan, and he does not weep for the blood of military personnel or innocent civilians. He is a small, insecure man named thousands of times in the Epstein files, which underscores just how depraved and dangerous he is. Now, in the face of cynicism, as my sister Brittany has taught me and affirmed so many times before, we must choose the discipline of hope. I'm not here to talk us out of the pain we feel or moments of discouragement. I'm not here to sugarcoat a thing because this is most certainly the season of call a thing a thing. But I am here to remind myself and each of us gathered here that we must bring our gifts, just as Sister Spice did. Bring our gifts. We each have one. Bring it to the resistance. Bring it with a sense of urgency. Now, if I can be vulnerable for a moment, this has been certainly a hard season for all of us in positions of leadership for Black women leading. I have Elon Musk dropping dark money against my reelection campaign. You see every day the Trump administration has weaponized the Department of Justice, and we wake up every day to a new Black woman that's being targeted. Yep. The threats to me, my team, my family have taken on a pace and a sinister nature that keeps me up at night. But I know we'll find a way through because we must. I'm asking for your partnership and your continued prayers, your sisterhood. Those who seek to do harm are coming at us because they know how powerful this movement and the leadership of Black women is. So I ask you, please be intentional and invest in the leadership of Black women as you each do so thoughtfully. Pour into those coming up in the world. Check on our elders and ask who is healing the healers. Who is healing the healers? And I know that we're going to get to the other side. So again, I'm grateful for the opportunity to join you this evening. That's my time, and I'll see you shortly.
Well, Congresswoman Pressley, we're going to have you in our next segment.
That's
but
right.
We wanted to, and we have nearly 1,700 sisters on this call tonight. Wow. And I always remind folks, when folks, we're on Zoom, and I know many of us as we're watching, but one day I looked up, how many seats are in the Grand Theater of the Kennedy Center? And I believe it's about, or DAR Constitution Hall. And most of those venues are around 1,500 to 2,000. So I like to think that we are filling up a concert venue every single Sunday that we join. So I always say how many we have. So you close your eyes, and if you ever been to a good concert someplace, we are absolutely packed with Black women here. And so, for the nearly 1,700 sisters that are here tonight live watching, the Congressional Black Caucus continues to be the conscience of the Congress. And you have been so boldly advocating for the more than 300,000 Black women who have been displaced out of work, whether or not it has been directly federal government service or whether or not it's been another service, but we know the numbers keep rising. Can you talk about that advocacy and why it's so important to you?
Absolutely, and so many of our sisters that are backstage and online are a part of this coalition. I launched this effort, Black Women, Families, and Futures, because that's what this unemployment crisis is. It is a threat to Black women, families, and futures. And although we bear the brunt of policy violence always and the hardest things in society, we are the canaries in the coal mine, and this harm is coming for everyone. But in this moment, we are carrying the weight. Overall unemployment is at 4.3%. For Black workers, it's over 6%. And for Black women, it is almost at 7%. Black women represent 12% of the federal workforce. If you have ever had to submit a FAFSA application to the Department of Education, it was probably a Black woman processing it. If your grandmama and them were scammed by a predatory financial product and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau intervened, it was probably a Black woman doing that. If you have benefited from the work of public health, whether it's USAID or Health and Human Services, it was probably a Black woman doing that. If you have been protected by the enforcement of national fair housing laws at Housing and Urban Development, it was probably a Black woman doing that. All things being equal, Black women have dominated the federal workforce. It is, in fact, how we built the middle class. And I liken this push out to the same push out that occurs in our schools all across the country, private, parochial, charter, whatever, of Black girls being pushed out of the classroom. We are now experiencing a push out of Black women in the federal workforce and also in the private sector because of the degrading, dismantling, and defunding of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Because on the corporate side, Black women headed up those roles. So I am demanding that the Federal Reserve, Chairman Powell, honor do their job. They have a statutory mandate of maximum employment. This is a crisis. They need to analyze the data, come up with a plan, and present it to the Congressional Black Caucus. And similarly, I'm calling on the Department of Labor to make sure they are paying attention because, Joteka, they've dismantled their Women's Bureau.
Yep.
And so we want the data. Data is not just for data's sake. It informs investments. It informs strategies. And if you considered, 300,000 plus Black women displaced, it's the equivalency of about 3 million white women in the workforce for Pennsylvania. Now, if there was a crisis affecting 3 million white women, there would certainly be a plan. So we just have to keep reminding people that though I wish you would care about us from a place of reciprocity and benevolence, just know that this harm is coming for everyone. So it behooves you to study what is happening for Black women because this harm cannot be contained given the sledgehammer taken to our federal government and the chaotic and economic policies of this administration.
Well, Congresswoman Pressley, thank you for your advocacy because no fewer than 3 sisters, I believe in the last minute in the chat, shared that they too have been impacted by this. So, and they're thanking you for your advocacy and for speaking for them and so many others that have been impacted. Last question very quickly before we go to our next segment, which we are so grateful that you are joining. What would you say to the 1,700 sisters here as it relates not only to this unjust and illegal war with Iran or what the crisis in healthcare, the crisis in unemployment, what would you urge these women to do as it relates to Congress in continuing to reach out to every member of Congress, regardless of where they live?
Yeah, let me tell you, I am not of the school of thought, Joteka. I'm not just going to tell you that Democrats have to get the gavel back and get the majority, and that's when we'll have the power. That is a part of the power. But more often than not, government does not lead, but it does respond to the will of the people. And I want to remind each and every one of you of your power and your agency. The reason why Elon Musk and the Department of Government so-called efficiency is no longer on the front page is because public outcry and rallies sent them running for the hills. The reason why the Epstein files went from an issue that was marginal to many has been completely mainstreamed is because of public outcry. The reason why we forced a vote on the Epstein files, on the Affordable Care Act, I'm pushing it now for to extend temporary protected status for Haitian nationals, a discharge petition. That is because of public outcry. So keep calling, keep emailing, keep posting. Look, their numbers are dwindling. I think they've had some 41 Republicans that have said they're not running for reelection. In a fascist state, they want you to believe that we're losing, but we are winning in the courts and we are winning in special elections and picking up seats all over the place. So I need people to continue to agitate, organize, mobilize, vote as if lives depend on it because they do. And in this culture of mis, mal, and disinformation, I need you to be trusted voices. You each have a circle of influence, you know, and the other side has managed to make fiction more compelling than fact. We need you to make sure that people know the facts. And then finally, Joteka, we have to lean on one another. We're going to get through this with mutual aid, you know, and community. And so it's important that we continue to organize in that way as well.
I think that's a perfect way. Thank you, Congresswoman Pressley. And make sure you are following her on all platforms. Make sure you're visiting her website, www. I believe it's ayannapressley.com. And you can find her congressional, everything that she is doing, and follow all of the information. And again, make sure you are continuing to call every member of Congress, regardless of who represents you. I think this takes us into our next segment, and I want to welcome our next set of panelists that will be joining Congresswoman Pressley. She's no stranger to the Win with Black Women stage. She serves as a chief officer with the Children's Defense Fund. Of course, we're all in our personal capacities. She is a renowned speaker and a voice of the people. Let's welcome Sister Brittany Packnett Cunningham. Welcome, Brittany. And I think also joining us very soon, I think she's going to come straight to the stage. Oh my goodness, she is the sage wisdom of Win with Black Women. She keeps us going. She keeps our spirits motivated. And she is literally on the road and calling in. It is none other than our good sister leader, the Dr. Janetta Besh Cole. Welcome, 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 welcome. So I want to, first of all, this is just a beautiful screen, just looking at you three in the chat. Everybody is just like loving on all of you in the chat. And I want to talk about this next segment is the way forward. We're coming out of the primary elections, and the incomparable, amazing Holly Holiday is going to break down all the numbers and all of the maps and all of that. But let's be very real. A lot of Black folks have a lot of feelings about that primary, particularly in Texas. And we have now seen a resurgence of the photo of Black women sitting on the building and everything burning, which I believe personally is not accurate of what Black women are really doing in this country. I mean, it's 3 Black women right here, and there's probably another 100 Black women that I can literally name that are on the front lines doing the work in our community. So we're not sitting down resting. We may be doing the work differently. And I want to talk about that tonight, the way forward, reflection and action. And Brittany, I want to start with you. With just giving us some reflection and some way forward.
Well, it's always an honor to be on this call and under your stewardship and leadership, Joteka, and certainly with my dear sister, Congresswoman Pressley, and all of our sister leader, Dr. Cole. Dr. Cole, I was just looking at my family heirloom copy of I Dream a World and looking at your portrait sitting in that chair, which is the first place I ever saw you. And so to be continuously in community with you and be able to glean your wisdom as all of us are on this call is just such a dear gift. So thank you for continuously giving it to us. You know, I was in Utah 2 weeks ago, and I know all these Black women on this call are looking at me saying, "Girl, what was you doing in Utah?" I was in Sundance, about an hour outside of Salt Lake, not for the festival, but I will tell you that outside of the festival, this is probably the most Black folks the state of Utah has ever seen, because my wedding planner, who's from New Orleans, got married, and it was a beautiful Black time, a celebration of love and family and joy. And my husband and I decided to extend the weekend a little bit and give ourselves a break from our children, whom we love very much, but y'all know how this goes. So we needed a little bit of time. And I told him, well, why don't you plan some excursions for us? And there were three quick things that I realized while we were in this place where, in theory and on paper, I should have felt alone, isolated, and unsafe. In this place that was not built for us in its current iteration. The first thing I noticed when I landed, and I'd been to Salt Lake a few times, but I kept forgetting to look up. This time when I landed, I looked up, and the first thing you see are the mountains. And it is just the most glorious surrounding. But of course, Utah, Salt Lake City is built in a valley. You are beneath the mountains and surrounded by these incredible ranges. And so the first thing I thought about was, even when we find ourselves in the valley, how much beauty there is if we just look up. How many times we miss the blessing of even the challenging moments, even the confusing moments, even the unexpected moments, how much we miss God's provision, how much we miss the defensive advantage that one has when you can hide in the mountains and evade or in the valley rather, and evade your enemy in the valley, and hunt and gather and build community in the valley in preparation for when it's time to go to the mountaintop. So the first thing I thought about was, even though we're in the valley, if we just look up to our creator, to our ancestors, to our elders, to the things that have come before us, we have something to look forward to, and we need to relish that beautiful view. The second thing I thought about was, because my husband planned this excursion for stargazing, but the first place they take you is to Antelope State Park, and you pass the bison and the wildlife, and you get out to this place, and they say, go climb Buffalo's Peak. Now, mind you, the altitude is high. And I and my husband are not particularly outdoorsy people, but they said it's not that long of a hike. And I promise you, you'll want to see the sunset from up there. You can watch it from down here, but you'll want to see it from up there. They said, do you want some walking sticks? We said, absolutely. Give us the walking sticks. And we made our way up that mountain. We had to take some extra deep breaths because Utah is very different than Maryland. We had to stop and pause and do what we needed to do. We needed to encourage each other, but we took our help and we went together. And when we got to the top, I saw the top 2 sunset of my life, and it was not number 2. It was absolutely worth every single second that we took to make that climb. Every time we had to pause, every time we had to have each other's back, every time we had to be thankful that we took our help with us. It was worth it when we climbed to that mountaintop. So when it's time for us to get out of the valley, as long as we take our help and we go together, we can get to that mountaintop, and the view is worth it. The last thing I thought about was, when you come down from that peak, it's pitch black, and they take you to a remote space, and they've got a telescope set up, and they're ready to show you, in this NASA level telescope, they're ready to show you Saturn and Saturn's rings, and Jupiter and Jupiter's moons, and Orion and Orion's belts. And we saw these beautiful constellations and planets and things I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. But I kept looking at one star just to the left of the Little Dipper, because that's the North Star. And it's actually not the brightest star in the sky, even though that's what we get taught when we're young. But it's the star that our people knew to look to go get free. So even though I was back down in the valley, I looked at that same star that generations upon generations upon generations who live in me and who live in each of you looked at to go get free. And I thought to myself, there's no reason to be afraid of the valley, because we've made it out before. And that same star that lit our way and guided our path is still there, shining brightly for anybody willing to look up and see it. So I feel grateful that I found myself in this place that I didn't think I was going to have a good time, that I was going to enjoy, that I didn't think was for me, because it felt so similar to this place that we're in now. And yet, God taught me so many lessons for this moment. So when I reflect on where we are, and most importantly, where we have the capability of going, with each of you, I am not afraid to be in the valley, because I know that we're going to get to our mountaintop and we're going to get there together.
Amen. That's why I call her the Right Reverend Brittany Packnett Cunningham.
Not the right Reverend child.
Yes, that was an entire word. Congresswoman, I want to come back to you because
now that's a setup. What am I supposed to offer?
We all had to come after you. Don't do that.
She has an activated Bob and a prophetic word and a brilliant analogy. What do you think I'm supposed to offer in this moment?
Well, I do want to ask you, or I do want to talk to you about your thoughts and reflection and the way forward. Because again, I think a lot of folks are now. I will say the photo is fire. I love I like the photo, but sometimes I get very concerned about the narrative that accompanies the photo, because I think there's a misconception that Black women are doing nothing and that we're just resting. And while we do need to rest, Black women are indeed doing the work. Can you just speak on that? Because you're doing the work every day, and there's so many sisters doing the work, and we have been, rightfully, sisters. There's a lot of frustration that continue to be, and we have to honor that. But there is also a way forward, and in this moment, as you said, we are winning more than we are losing in this moment across this country, because it seems like there's this pressure, and every time we look up, it's this administration is doing yet another thing. But there are so many victories that we are seeing along the way.
Let me say a couple of things. I grew up in a household with a mother who defined work with a capital W as something greater than your vocation. That work with a capital W is the work of healing, is the work of upliftment, which we do in big and small ways every day. It always has troubled me when people would say, well, I don't see you doing anything. Well, that would then be operating under the assumption that work only happens in spaces that you're in. And it only happens and is only manifested and shows up in ways that you deem valuable. I think if Black women are being still, if we are staying prayed up, introspective, reflective, if we are taking notes, if we are studying, if we are still giving ourselves the space to be unapologetically joyful, that too is work. Because all radical work begins with a radical dream. And in a fascist state, they want to deny us those North Star dreams. The dream of freedom, the dream that every child from Mattapan, in Boston to Minnesota, to Haiti, to the Congo, to Gaza, deserves a future. Deny us the dream that Black men deserve to grow old. Deny us the dream that Black women can give birth and do it safely and be sacred and loved and go on to raise that child, right? So I think the work of radical dreaming is very important. Because a fascist state wants to depress, repress, oppress. So all radical work begins with the dream. So they want you to, deny your dreams, but all radical work begins with a radical dream. Also, Black women are still working, but we are working differently. And I would argue that we do need to do work that is not all televised. The work of mutual aid, the work of organizing block by block, the work of developing networks and systems that everyone does not have a sight line into, the work of strategy. Because the one thing about the two things about the other side, my husband and I were boxing enthusiasts, and there are those fighters that telegraph every punch. You know where the punch is going to land. Republicans tell on themselves every day. They laid it out in Project 2025. They'll leave Illinois and tell you we're on our way to Minnesota. They tell on themselves. The other thing they do is they plan long term. The second that Roe v. Wade became the law of the land, they started 10, 15, 20-year plans to undo it. And so I'm not mad at Black women moving in silence. I'm not mad at Black women prioritizing our wellness and staying prayed up for the purposes of still being able to dream and be joyful. So we're still very much at work. And I think it's okay for us to move in silence. And in fact, we need to, in the interest of our safety.
That's a whole entire word, an entire word. Now, Dr. Cole.
My. Sister Lita Joteka, I have used that expression out of the very center of the Black church. My. It's a way to capture what I am feeling after being so deeply moved by these two sheroes. To listen to the clarity with which our sister leader, Congresswoman Pressley, does an analysis is to watch. It's almost like, ooh, is that Elizabeth Catlett creating a sculpture? I'm listening to my sister, Congresswoman Pressley, and they are words. But because I'm so deeply into the arts, I am seeing the work of Augusta Savage. I am seeing that harp and that message that says, lift every voice and sing. That is one way of my saying, and I've been so wordy with it, what our priceless, powerful sister Congresswoman said so clearly. Don't be fooled by what you think you see. Dig at it. Go beneath the surface and see what is really there. And that's what I tried to do in saying to you that, and I'm moving a little now from that first point to struggle is an art form. It is a form of art. And it means that sometimes it will be as bold and as in your face as what our young'uns do on the side of a train, and we call it a kind of art. But sometimes it will be as silent, but so effective as when we simply hum to ourselves a song that came from the musical artistry of Nina Simone. Now, you, my sister leader, expect me to now try to be helpful when we've already been so deeply instructed by and moved by our sister Congresswoman. But you're expecting me now to say something that's got some meaning when this mighty young'un, Brittany, just took us on the most magnificent excursions of hope. I'm so deeply moved by what I listened to. I just gotta say, I was no time weary. I got no time for disappointment. I am refusing to stop now. Let me tell you where I am and where I've just been. With a group from my hometown of Jacksonville, Florida, and some folk from the community I live in, the American Beach community, we are on our way back home from Montgomery, Alabama, and Selma. And so even if I had an inkling that what is going on is gonna pause my engagement in the struggle, not after what I've just seen and experienced. First, in Montgomery, where that brother, Brian Stevenson, who I feel is for us in so many ways, our Mandela, our Dr. King, our Mary McLeod Bethune, our Shirley Chisholm, because what he and his colleagues have done at that Equal Justice Initiative is to teach us that we ain't nowhere near as tired when we look at what our people have been through. The lesson there in Montgomery is that our ancestors never gave up. And if they went through the most horrific experience of enslavement, how dare we Black women now say, well, it's kind of a mess right now, and maybe we just don't need to be in the struggle. Suppose our ancestors had said, there's just no need for us to any longer be in the struggle. Did they have moments of great disappointment? Of course. Were there times when they just felt, how can I carry on? Obviously. But they never, ever gave up. And when we left the Equal Justice Initiative, seeing those material expressions of the worst notion imaginable, and that is racial terror lynchings. How can I now say I'm disappointed in what happened in a particular race in Texas? And I'm giving up. Of course I can be disappointed. But being disappointed is one thing. Giving up is another. I'm right now in a car with a priceless sister friend, and she is a Sora, with Sharice Williams. And as we talked about tonight and what we would all experience, she shared something that I want to share. Shanice said, disappointments, yes, they will come. Look, we're in the middle of an autocracy right now, the creation of authoritarian rule. Yeah, there are going to be disappointments. But our role is to do what our people have always done, and that is to turn disappointment into social action. Thank you, Sister Shanice, for that powerful concept. But let me tell you, we then left and went to Selma. Oh, to Selma, Alabama. And just so we do not lose sight of the horrific environment in which we are now living, we could not march across that bridge because the night or the day before there had been violence on that bridge. Oh, but even without walking across that bridge, let me tell you what the good Lord did for me. We go into a movement office, the group that I am with, and who do I see but our priceless warrior, Latasha. There she is, convening a group of righteous women's rights and civil rights workers, of course, under the banner of Black Voters Matter. And while we couldn't walk across the bridge, I was so profoundly moved to be in a room, not just with seasoned, righteous women's rights and civil rights workers, but you know how I affectionately call my young'uns, young women and men. And while we couldn't march across that bridge, we looked out a window and we saw it. And you know, Latasha, that's all it took for her to use that mighty weapon God gave her. It's that voice. And we sang together. You hear me? And we prayed together. And we obviously recommitted to be together because there is no way we can be tired now.
Sisters, to all 1,800 of you now, I hope you take a look around wherever you're sitting. Take a look at your watch, your clock. Remember this moment in time. Jot a note to yourself because we are so blessed to be in this moment, absorbing all of the richness of the legacy and the wisdom that you bring to us, Dr. Cole. It is not lost upon us that you are a direct connection to our Shiro ancestors, you yourself that continue to pour into us. And we thank you. We thank you. And the chat is thanking you. What an honor. Thank you, Sister Brittany Patnett Cunningham, Representative Ayanna Pressley, and the incomparable, amazing, legendary Dr. Janetta Besh Cole. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sisters, woo, what a powerful conversation. And we are going to segue into another powerful conversation that I believe just segues into this important conversation on reproductive freedom with a national treasure and a leader. And before we bring up our very special, special guest who will introduce our next speaker, we have this video for you to see.
Today I am here representing all kinds of people who provide access to care. We won't go back! That's right, because we are proud defenders of abortion care.
Please welcome Alexis McGill Johnson. As the president of Planned Parenthood, what does it actually mean on the ground?
What we saw on the ground was an intense set of demonstrations of the rage that people have been experiencing. And so if anybody kicks you out of the Constitution, you got to think about how you're going to get yourself back in.
We cannot call ourselves a free nation when women are not free.
People are traveling hundreds of miles just to get access to basic health care. You may be coming for birth control, STI testing, cervical cancer screening. And yes, we proudly provide abortion because that is also part of health care. That is the work that
We're building a plan to get our rights back into the Constitution.
They know we fight for freedom, and they hate us for it. But that has never stopped us before, and it won't stop us now. President Trump, we'll see you in court.
The Supreme Court made a decision, but the Supreme Court doesn't get the last word. We do.
Y'all, that's just something about Black women in leadership. Oh my goodness. But before we bring out our next special guest, let us welcome to the Win with Black Women stage. She's been an OG. She's been with us, and we are just so honored to have Senator Laphonza Butler.
Thank you so much, Joteka, and to everyone who is just on tonight's call and like keeping the chat popping. It is just so great to be joining you all again tonight. I feel compelled to start my remarks by saying two things, and I feel like it's just in the spirit of this great community that I have to share these two things and really to mark the moment that we find ourselves in here on International Women's Day. The first thing that I want to say, and really is a shout out to Spice, is whoop-de-whoop. Like, if we are not feeling all that Spice's song brought to us, all that love and energy and care and dignity and grace, that song truly spoke to my soul and to my spirit. The second thing that I want to say is really what I've been saying to my daughter for the last 2 weeks in honor of the leader on whose shoulders I know so many of us stand. And I think every day since Reverend Jackson passed, I've been saying to my daughter, I am somebody. And as I join tonight's call, it is so very clear to me the prescient call that Reverend Jackson was making to all of us when I was just 5 years old. Hearing Reverend Jackson declare, I am somebody, changed my life fundamentally. And I know changed the life of so many of us who every day lived in places or communities and households that we may not have felt like we were someone deserving of love and care. And Reverend Jackson made this nation stand in its promise. And so I think gracefully inspired all of us to embrace fully who we are and for us to use the true power that we have in our voice and in our feet and in our pocketbook and in our community, bravely and courageously declaring, just as he sang on Sesame Street, the same video I showed to my daughter, I am somebody. Sisters, tonight I have the privilege and honor of bringing to you a sister who has been with all of us for years. In the space of reproductive care, yes. In the space of fighting for our democracy and protecting the vote, absolutely. In the space of growing our knowledge and our skill in learning how to be advocates for ourselves and for our communities, undoubtedly. And even before the Dobbs decision in 2022, Alexis has been standing 10 toes down on reproductive care and the care that women and children all across this country needs. And I'm so proud today that Alexis is still standing. She is going to be talking with us tonight, not just about the journey of Dobbs, and where we are in this moment with reproductive care. But she indeed is going to invite us all to continue to stand with Planned Parenthood and her leadership as the fight to protect reproductive care continues to wage. It is true and it is real and it is unrelenting. The fight that her organization, our Planned Parenthood, is under right now, and her affiliates and her providers and her nurses and even those who keep the facilities clean, the threat that they are facing is real. And to bring us up to date on where we are and to give us our marching orders to continue to protect the care that is so critical to our communities, sisters, join me in welcoming Alexis McGill Johnson.
Senator Butler, my friend, thank you so much for that incredible introduction. You know, it wasn't too long ago we were out on the trail, running in these streets, making sure we were getting everybody organized and out organized for all the work. And I'm so appreciative for your continued leadership and your continued friendship in this moment. And to everyone here, I mean, look. You know, I'm as the senator said, I'm an OG from day one on Women with Black Women. You know, when this group was founded, a movement in 72 hours, and it wasn't because Joteka or anyone else waited for permission. You sent an email, organized a Zoom call for a few dozen women, and literally changed the course of American politics. And I sit with, because it's really the same tenure that I've had 6 years ago, thinking about all that we all have built under your leadership every single Sunday, right? Just by practice, every single Sunday, as many as we can, built a power structure that I am so honored to be in. You know, unsurprisingly, your goals are our goals at Planned Parenthood. This is the work that I come in, whether it is through leadership in Planned Parenthood or organizing to vote, organizing in culture back in the day, has always been about fighting against the racist and sexist attacks on Black women. That's who I am at my core. That is my training. That is my elevation and what I try to do, ensuring that, you know, even in this moment, the devastating and disproportionate impacts that we are experiencing, also because of the abortion bans, but even more recently because of the Medicaid restrictions that attack Planned Parenthood first and are now going to come for all of us after these midterms. Elevating the agenda and image of Black women, centering us as individuals, and in the case of Planned Parenthood, our patients, prioritizing their unique needs, their autonomy and perspective is really what my work has been about. And I think now more than ever, ensuring that more Black women are running for office. We need more Ayanna Pressleys, you know, shouting the word. We need more of us out there fighting this fight so that we can support the decisions that we are making about our own healthcare and our own freedom and our lived experience. So I feel the focus right now as we turn the corner in these elections. We are prime in 26. We are getting out the vote, and we desperately need that through every single primary in the coming months, all the way through November. But let's call this what it is, right? Since Dobbs in 2022, we have seen the most devastating rollback of reproductive freedom in 50 years. And you already know because you already live it. Black women, women of color are carrying the heaviest burden. These are the patients that our healthcare system has always failed, always. Across the country, we continue to see patients navigating chaos, criminalized doctors, shuttered clinics, dangerous delays in care, patients who are traveling hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles for care that should be available in their own communities. And we know it, right? This is so much more than a policy debate. Our bodies are literally on the line. Post the abortion bans, Black maternal mortality is 234% higher than white maternal mortality in banned states. That is the crisis we are living in. And we know it's not, we're not statistics, right? I mean, we can just say the names of Amber Thurman, Candy Miller in Georgia, of Gisele Barnica and Nevaeh Crane, of C.G. Graham in North Carolina, who had a heart condition and she couldn't get her abortion in time, Tierra Walker and Portia Umezi in Texas, Adriana Smith in Georgia, who was kept on life support after being declared brain dead, and Dr. Janelle Green Smith, who was a 31-year-old midwife who fought for Black maternal care in South Carolina, and she passed away just at the top of this year on January 1st, 2026. That is who we continue to fight for. And yet we are here. Planned Parenthood is standing, adapting, organizing, delivering. Since I became president in 2019, I can't believe it's been that long, Planned Parenthood has grown our base of supporters to upwards of 20 million. 20 million supporters. That's 5 times more than the NRA, but I'm not competitive. Just saying. Securing the biggest single gift in our organization's history in McKinsey Scott's unprecedented $275 million donation to Planned Parenthood, and building the biggest electoral program, which we have sustained year after year. We have emerged from COVID stronger with new insights about how innovation can help shape our healthcare and commit to health equity. And despite all of the attacks that we have seen on DEI that have been further weaponized by this administration, I have been unapologetic in fighting for who I know is at the center of the work that I wake up every single day thinking about. I launched a Black Health Equity Initiative with equitable funding models in order that to close systemic gaps. And we stood up a task force to ensure that every day Black patient coming into Planned Parenthood is coming and getting the best possible care, and ensuring that their outcomes are going to be the ones that we center and drive forward throughout the entire Federation. That's my commitment to the work. That's what resilience looks like, being unapologetic about centering our voices and our experiences and our resources to ensure that every time someone walks into our clinic, they are truly seen in every single way. That's the energy that Women with Black Women has reinforced for me, knowing that we can't afford to play a supporting role with any of this, right? This is about the infrastructure that we need in order to deliver and to show up every day, even when it's unglamorous and essential work. That is essentially what we need to do. This week, the first midterm primaries finally arrived, and with them, the chance to truly shift the momentum for the last 4 years of darkness. I can tell you one thing from the last few years, though, post Dobbs decision. When abortion is on the ballot, when reproductive freedom is on the ballot, reproductive freedom wins. Voters in Ohio passed a constitutional amendment protecting abortion rights. We built a legislative firewall in Virginia. We won ballot initiatives in Arizona, Colorado, Maryland, Missouri, Montana, New York, Nevada. All across this country, we have been able to make a case of what happens when politicians overreach into exam rooms and emergency rooms. And we know that now that November is on its way, that the best defense is a good offense, and we finally get to go back on the offense together. And so here's the frame that we are fighting on. Affordability. You all know affordability is where it's at right now. People are literally making choices between paying their rent or paying their insurance premiums. That's ridiculous. That is going to be the defining word of this election cycle, and we cannot cede that to anyone. Reproductive freedom, reproductive care, access is an affordability issue, whether or not they want to admit it. Reproductive freedom is about economic freedom. When people can make their own decisions about whether, when, and how they become parents, labor force participation rises, education attainment rises, poverty rates decline. We know that this is so critical right now. This is not just a women's issue. It is an economic one. It is a fight about our democracy and a justice one. And that's why we have to continue to remind people of that. We have survived the most coordinated assault in generations. And yet, somehow we have grown stronger in the face of it. And we are better positioned than ever to help shape the outcome of upcoming races. I think that is so important right now. As I've heard my sisters talk in this moment about just how powerful it is for us to be organized as Black women leaders, I also want to mention something a little bit more personal that I think is going to resonate with this group. As we all know, our leadership is not measured by calm seasons. It's measured by who can hold the wheel when the storm hits. And at the same time, Black women in visible leadership are scrutinized differently. We are judged more harshly. We are granted less grace. Running Planned Parenthood has been the honor of a lifetime, and I will also tell you it has not been without its challenges. And I've wondered if some of those challenges have anything whatsoever to do with the policies I promote with people I center every single day. But here's what I know for sure. Planned Parenthood is at an inflection point. We can take the leadership lessons of these past 3 years and use them to build towards a new day. I stand here as only the second Black woman to lead Planned Parenthood, the nation's largest sexual and reproductive healthcare organization, in 107 years. In a movement that has always depended on Black women's labor, but not always supported our leadership. At a moment when most of the reproductive rights organizations are now led by women of color, when we can be both hyper visible and more vulnerable than other leaders, and yet invisible at the same time. And with the same predictable asks of us as leaders to come in, to clean, to fix what other leaders before us have broken, but never ever being asked to dare to dream. Well, I'm telling you, I'm here to dream. I have spent the last 7 years delivering so much for this work and this organization, and I am here to dream. I know that tyranny is upon us, but let me tell you something. Tyranny is not going to die by itself, but we can outwork it. We can outorganize it. And only Black women can do. So while our opposition is coordinated, I know that we must do the same. And I'm so appreciative to be here in community with you all, because you all give me hope and you are my infrastructure to continue to do that work. Thank you so much for having me.
My sister, thank you. And I want to say, and there are, about 1,800 of us on this call tonight. And it's very clear in the chat, everyone is thanking you for your work, but we have to thank you for your leadership. Because as we heard in the conversation before, our sage, Dr. Cole, reminded us of the type of world and country that we are in the midst of, and the fact that you have had historic, monumental milestones in your leadership at the helm of Planned Parenthood, doing it so eloquently, fighting for us, lifting us up as a Black woman who is centering Black women in your leadership as you represent all women. All women. We are so grateful for your leadership. And here at Win with Black Women, you have been an OG, and Planned Parenthood has been a consistent fighter for Black women and the Sisters of Win with Black Women, and we consistently stand with you. And sisters, if you're right along with me here, please put an amen or we see you. Thank you to our good sister Alexis in the chat so that she can see it. Now it's a bunch of amens and thank yous in the chat, but we thank you for your leadership. We thank you for all of the milestones. We thank you for the historic first that you have done at the helm, your leadership, and just speaking truth to power and representing us all every single time, whether or not you are in the office leading the incredible staff, whether or not you are leading the affiliates, or you are on television speaking truth to power, or whether or not you are testifying before Congress. Whatever it is that you're doing, you represent us all, and we are just so honored. We are just so honored to be in the presence of your leadership, and we stand with you loud and proud, my sister.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you for everything. Thank you to the entire community. And, all love Jateka for this incredible opportunity to be here with people. I needed it. Feel it in my soul.
Thank you. Well, could you please tell all of our sisters how we can continue to follow you and support Planned Parenthood?
Absolutely. Please go to I'm4pp.org. That is the best way to sign up and get connected locally for all the work that you want to do. I'm on all the socials at Alexis McGill. You can find me wherever. But honestly, it is the work that you're going to continue to do with Women with Black Women, however you participate. All of your prayers, your hugs, your hearts are being felt deeply. I know every single woman leader here, sister leader will say that that leadership is lonely, right? And the only way we can do it differently is to be in community, and to know that that we can reach out to each other when we need to, and to fight these long fights. You can't have a long view and play a long game without a deep infrastructure that's going to support the fight. And so I'm so grateful that that's what we have right here in this community.
Well, Sister Alexis, you are us and we are you. Thank you so much for your continued leadership. Win with Black Women proudly stands with you and Planned Parenthood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sisters, moving right along on our agenda. I'm so excited always to bring these two dynamic, amazing leaders. One, a communication savoir. She is amazing. She keeps us with the message. The other, a sage, wise, history making strategist, prophetic bringer of the word, and one of my dear mentors. Always so honored to be in her presence. Let us welcome to talk about the fact that Power Rising is coming. If you have not registered yet, you are getting ready to get all the information you need. We hope to see you in Chicago. Let us welcome the incomparable Karen Finney and the amazing Bishop Leah Daughtry. Hello.
Hello. How are you? Hey, sisters. It's
Yes,
good to
so
be with
over
you
to
this
you.
evening. Good evening. Good evening. Hey, Karen. Hi, sisters. It's good to see you. Hi, Joteka. We are just back from Reverend Jackson's services in Chicago, and listening to the women who have gone before us. I can say that this is a singular moment for many of us, especially for me personally, as someone who counted Reverend Jackson as a mentor, as a guide, as a North Star. And if you follow me on Substack, look up my Substack. I wrote a little essay about it today. And so it's just been a overwhelming couple of days as we gather to celebrate his life and his legacy and remember all of the lessons that he shared with us and that he taught us. And I was asked over and over, before I get to Power Rising. I'm going to segue. Trust me. Just stay with me.
I'm glad because I was getting ready to ask you, could you give us some reflection as well? And if you could give us also some way forward, because I know we've all seen that image and we all know, but Black women are doing work. So I know we're going to talk about Power Rising, but we can't have you and not have a word. I tried to get to you early today. I believe you was on a flight because your phone went straight to voicemail.
Yes, yes.
I know you're going to talk about Power Rising, but can we please also get a word from you as well?
I met Reverend when I was about 6 years old, and I was with my dad in Brooklyn. I grew up in Brooklyn, as anybody who knows me knows. We were boycotting A&P supermarkets. My dad would pick me up from school, and we'd go over to the A&P, which was the supermarket back in those days. And we would go on the boycott line, and I said to my dad, why are we boycotting A&P? And he said, because A&P won't hire Black people. And we can't shop where they're not going to hire our own people. Yes, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, yes.
Okay, all right, Brooklyn. We love you.
Listen, Brooklyn in the house. So we would go every day to boycott A&P supermarkets. My father was vice chair of Operation Breadbasket back in those days. And one day on the picket line, Jesse Jackson showed up. And I just thought he was the tallest man I had ever seen with the biggest afro. And now you over these last few days, you've gotten to see that big afro in some of the pictures. And I didn't know who he was. I said to my dad, Daddy, who's that? He said, that's Reverend Jackson. That's Jesse Jackson. He's the chair of Operation Breakback. And I said, okay. And Reverend walked over to me and he said, what's your name? I said, I'm Leah. And he picked me up and he said, hi, baby. I'm glad to see you. You boycotting with us? Yes, sir, I'm boycotting with you. And we went on the picket back on the picket line. That was the beginning of a relationship with Reverend Jackson, and he's been part of our family and part of our church family all these many years. And so I got to, in college, work for him when I went to school. I went to white school. I went to Dartmouth in New Hampshire, and that was the year of his presidential campaign. And he tracked me down, said, baby, you in New Hampshire? Yes, Reverend, I'm in New Hampshire. He said, I need you to run my campaign in Hanover. And I was like, okay, I didn't know a thing about a presidential campaign, not even the first thing. I knew about city council, I knew about the mayor, I didn't know anything, but of course you didn't tell Reverend no. And so I said yes, and my sister, who was also there with me, she's 3 years behind me, we proceeded to try to organize our little space of Hanover, New Hampshire. We hosted a debate of the college of all the presidential candidates, and we hosted him for any number of forums and student meetings and so forth. And that's how I got my first presidential campaign under my belt. And over the years, he's just been a fixture as we changed the party rules, as he forced change in the Democratic Party, in the way that we calculate delegates, and the way that folks are appointed to the Democratic National Committee, all of these things that made so many things possible, from Doug Wilder becoming governor of Virginia, to Maxine Waters getting to Congress, to David Dinkins becoming the mayor of the city of New York in 1989, to even Barack Obama becoming president, is because of the work of Reverend Jackson. And I've said for many years that I don't think the story of his impact will be entirely told until he's gone. And now he's gone, and we are telling the story in the way that it should be told. When I became chief of staff at the Democratic Party, the first person I called was Jesse Jackson. When I became the CEO of the 2008 convention and the 2016 convention, I called him first. And I said, Reverend, I'm going to be running the convention. And he said, that's beautiful, baby. That's beautiful. And I said, I had to call you because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the doors that you open, I am able to sit at the helm of an organization that wouldn't seat Fannie Lou Hamer.
Right.
And now I get to say what happens and who comes and who gets to have a seat and who gets a credentials and who doesn't get a credential. And that's because of the work that you did. And I will forever be grateful for him and his impact in my life and the people that he put in my life, like Alexis Herman. So we are missing him every day. And, I think there's, Joteka, as we reflect on all the losses, Hazel Dukes and Alexis Herman and Bernard Lafayette and Norm Francis and Jesse Jackson, all of these lions who have passed to the next life, it makes me think that because of what I believe about God, that they wouldn't be gone if we weren't ready. Because they cut a path for us, they showed us a way, and they passed the baton. And it's up to us to run with the baton. We don't have the luxury, like they didn't have the luxury, of saying, I'm tired, I'm aggravated, I'm pissed off. And yes, there are days when you are all of those things, but I don't get to lay down the baton. I got nephews. I have daughters. I have friends. I have the future that I'm thinking about, and my eyes are fixed on the future. And so, no, I don't like what happened in Texas. And I don't vote in Texas. I vote in New York. I'm a New Yorker. But you know what? What happens in Texas impacts me because that might be the deciding vote in the Senate that says what my nephews can and cannot do in the state of New York. So I don't get to sit down and just be mad and say, well, I'm just not going. The challenge and the problem I have with that meme, Joteka, is black women sitting on a roof watching the city burn as though the building they are on is not going to burn also.
That's right.
They're in the middle of a city that's burning. Do we think that the fire isn't coming to us?
That's right.
It's coming to us. And so we can either sit on the top and be surprised when the building starts burning, or we can burn with it, or we can say, let me get out my fire hose and do what I can do. Yes, I'm mad, but I'm gonna still put this fire out. Yes, I'm pissed off. I'm gonna still put this fire. And yes, the firefighters who are currently in office need to all be fired. But until I get them out of office, I'm gonna pull out this fire hose and put out the fire because I am clear. As black people, we have to be clear. Jesse Jackson said, when America gets into cold, black folks get pneumonia. If the city is burning, the building we are sitting on the top of smoking our cigarettes with a 92% shirt on is going to burn too. And I don't know about y'all, but I ain't going out in no fire. That's not gonna be my testimony. So I'm going to do my part to put the fire out in the way that I know how. And so I want to encourage all of us that we got to stay eyes on the prize.
That's right.
Eyes on the prize, an election here, an election there. It's not gonna all go our way. It's not. That's just the way of life. We are. When I grew up, everybody didn't get a prize. That's a new parenting technique where everybody gets a prize. Somebody's gonna win and somebody's gonna lose. That's the way it is. And I'm gonna fight my damnedest to be on the winning team. That's how I feel about it. And I just think, beloved, that we don't need to get distracted by these memes, by who won and who lost. Fix it. We don't like it, fix it for the next time. But eyes on the prize. You have children and nieces and nephews and parents and sisters and brothers whose lives depend on who's in the Senate, whose lives depend on who's in the state house, whose lives depend on who's in the assembly and the. We don't have the luxury, we don't have the privilege in this here America to put down one weapon because it didn't work that one time. There's 3 legs or 4 legs or 5 legs on a stool, however many. Our journey in this country toward liberation is a multi-pronged approach. And we don't have the luxury of saying one, we're not going to use this leg or this leg, all of it. The stool won't stand up unless all the legs are working.
That's right.
We're going to church tonight.
I know it. And
going to
hold on,
church
can I just say, Leah told me she was tired. Okay, so I just need to level set.
She's like Dr. Cole. I ain't no ways tired.
I'm going to say just one little thing, and then we'll talk about Power Rising. So, in the 80s, California public schools invited Reverend Jackson to come because the drugs was such a huge problem everywhere. And they had seen what he was doing in Chicago and thought, let's have him come do that here. Well, I was one of the kids who heard, I am somebody. And he inspired me. And I had no idea as a young girl that I would all these years later be sitting with Leah and crying on your shoulder, Joteka, at the service on Friday. But what I understood when he spoke, he was speaking to me. And we all know being a teenager is trifling. So to have someone come and pour that into you and to spend that time, it was so meaningful to me. I was so energized and excited, and I was already interested in social justice, but I just felt like that's going to be my journey of whatever I do in life. This is what I have to commit to. So I just like to share that because we've all seen those videos of him speaking to young people. And I want to, to say I was one of those kids who heard that, who really heard that. And when he talked about a rainbow, I was like, oh, finally, there's a place where I'm part of this picture too. And so I think that's part of his legacy. And the last thing I'll just say, kind of going off of what Leah said, his life was an arc and a journey, right? And that's a reminder to us that this work we do is a verb, not a noun. We have to keep, it's a lifestyle. We're going to keep doing it. And, maybe we sleep in shifts. Maybe you get tired and pissed off. Okay, take a beat. We got you. We're going to carry you. That's what this space is for. And I'm going to do my pivot. That's what Power Rising is also about. It is creating spaces for us to come together, to fill each other up, to talk about, have safe spaces to have the real conversations about what is going on. And part of what we're trying to focus on this time when we're talking about your health and wellness, we mean your, financial health, we mean your spiritual health, your physical health, our, political health. We're trying to look at it in all the ways because we want to say to Black women, you are somebody. You matter. Your voice matters. We matter. And this is a space that matters. And it is a space that was designed with so much love, initially envisioned by Bishop Leah and Mignon Moore, assisted with a handful of us on the first year. And it's a space for Black women. It's a love letter to Black women to say this is a place where we're going to fill ourselves up and get ready for the next part of our work. That's how I view Power Rising. I always, it's coming up in April. I'll let Leah talk about it a little more, but I want us to think about that this is a space for us. This is a gift to ourselves. It can also be part of your homework, because this is part of your homework is how are you taking care of yourself? What are you doing to ready yourself and help yourself get some tools to keep leading, to be strong, to be in your communities, to do that work? We can't do it alone. We can't. We know that. That's why we've always moved together.
That's exactly right. And we hope that, it's one of the amazing things about the time we live in is that you can live your whole entire life and not see another person in person. You can have your groceries delivered, your dry cleaning, you can homeschool, you can do everything in your house. Thank God for the technology that allows us to gather on these Sunday nights and be in relationship with each other and get to know each other and to talk about the big issues. But there are few things that take the place of being in a room with your sisters. Talking with your sisters, laughing, even with the people you've been online with for a long time. And as Joteka knows, during COVID, we did a whole lot of COVID conversations among the girls. We would get on and just shop online and just all the things. But when we were able to be outside and actually sit with each other at dinner for hours and kiki and just, it was different. And so Power Rising, we created, it's by, for, and about Black women. All the speakers are women. All the presenters are women. We do allow one little token man to come, but we want to be, and this year it'll be the mayor of Chicago, to come and to really dive into the things that interest you. So we're going to be talking about health below the belt. Or anybody going through menopause, about to go through menopause, went through menopause, all the things your mama never told you. Oh my goodness, we're going to talk about health below the belt. We're going to talk about AI. All of this chat about AI and is it good, is it not good? We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about what is it, Karen, the 75 million, the state of Black women and the economy for the women who've lost their jobs. What can they do? What do we as Black women need to do about the educational system? What are we going to do about our health? What are we going to do about the economy? What are we going to do about the labor force? All of these things we're going to dive in from a policy perspective. But then there's the hands-on, okay, now how do I work this AI thing What do I do with it? How do I use it? How do I leverage it? What about Black women in sports? What's happening with the WNBA and their strike? What's going on there? How are we thinking about women in labor and the labor union movement? All of these are the things we're going to dive in, and there's going to be time for us to do some regional organizing. How women in your state, in your region, how are you organizing up close and personal, not on the interwebs where somebody might be listening, but us together in a room strategizing.
That's right.
And plotting a strategy for how we are going to move forward with the things to get the things that our community so richly deserves. So we invite you to come to Power Rising April 16th to the 19th in Chicago, Illinois. Get your registration done. Your registration includes the Thursday reception, the Friday lunch, the Saturday lunch, the Sunday brunch, all the materials, a few surprises, all of that. And there will be speakers. Some of them will be speakers. Many of them will be speakers that you know, that you've heard, that you want to hear, that you've heard of, and they will be front and center, and you will have access to them to be able to get all the selfies you want. In addition to just chatting with other women that you may not know. One of our sisters, Nikisha, says, I came to Power Rising with friends, but when I left, I had sisters. Bring your mama.
Yeah.
Mothers bring their daughters, daughters bring their mamas, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful time. And just go on our website, www.powerrising.org, and you can register there. You can see the agenda there, and you can get all the information. And we are starting to roll out the speakers this week, so you will be able to see exactly who's coming. And we're so excited, and we can't wait to see you again, April 16th to the 19th in the city of Chicago. It's our first time going to Chicago. So we're excited about that. And we hope that we will see you there. I see you already book packed and ready to go. All right.
That's right. That
Sabrina, this is
is
what we love. We
right.
love to see it. Trust me. And look, sister, come as you are. You want to wear sequins, wear sequins. You want to wear house coat and house shoes, wear house coat and house shoes. You want your head tied up, tie it up. You want to wear jeans, fine. You want to wear it's a level experience. There's no reserved seating. Everybody is just a Black woman coming to be with other Black women, and we have a wonderful time. You get filled up. Oh, yes, who somebody knows. We have a dance party every day.
Yes.
You want to wear your PJs? Wear your PJs, girl. Whatever makes you comfortable and makes you feel beautiful. We love it, and we want to see you there. Come get filled up. We got work to do.
It's such a feeling. I have not missed the Power Rising. And I will say, I remember the very first Power Rising. I had just lost my nephew. And I'll never forget coming just to be poured into with prayer and being so filled with emotion. And without even knowing what was going on around me, because I was so engulfed with emotion, I felt the embrace of Yolanda Caraway. And we just held each other. And I'll never forget that moment. And that was my first Power Rising. And if I could describe Power Rising, it just feels like that. It is an embrace from a sister that holds you tight and does not let go. That is what Power Rising feels like. Sisters, please make sure you are registering. Now, I know there are lots of conferences and all of the conferences, but this is a gathering of sisters. We all, and let me tell you also, Power Rising and the leadership, shout out to the leadership of Power Rising to make the pricing where it lowers the barrier of entry. This is not a conference where it is thousands of dollars for you to register. And sisters, what has always happened, if you are a sister and you want to get to Power Rising, there are sisters who offer, and they put money into scholarship to help fund sisters to get to Power Rising. So what I will say, if you are in your heart and you want to get there and you can't get there, raise your hand and let us know, because there are often many sisters here on this call in this network that will raise their hand and say, sister, I will sponsor you. And I don't need my name out there. I don't need nothing, but I got you. So please, we will make sure as we're leading into Power Rising that we find ways to identify sisters, particularly in this network, that want to come, and matching them with sisters who want to support sisters, because we know it is a tough time for many of us in this moment, but we want to make sure that we can actually come together in that sisterhood. I want to thank you, Sister Karen Finney, always, and Bishop. Thank you so much. I mean, Karen, you talking about you've been on, you going to church, Deacon Finney tonight. And Bishop Leah Daughtry. I saw y'all were asking in the chat what was her last name. It is Bishop Leah Daughtry. Thank you so much, and to the entire Power Rising leadership. We're going to have y'all back, right? Y'all coming back to talk to us about Power Rising. Y'all, we're going to keep it. We're going to make sure you get all the links, and you're going to get all the information for Power Rising. But in Chicago, April 16th through the 19th, we want to see you all there, especially all of y'all to be in after hours at night. Y'all could get together and hug and love on each other and see each other at Power Rising. And I know we have a video to show you before you all leave.
Because I'm a woman, a black woman, determined to have power. Rise.
We are every woman. With power we rise, turning our power into action, bringing change, making strides.
Blessed be black women with their own theme songs. Yes, we are Power Rising. I love
And can I just say that woman singing that is Siobhan Arline Bradley's mother-in-law.
Yes,
So we
absolutely.
keep it in the Black Lady family.
Right.
Honey, we are talented, multi-talented, multi-hyphenate. Karen Finney, Bishop Leah Daughtry, Deacon Karen Finney. Thank you so much, and we look forward to having you join us on March 22nd. Sisters, we're going to keep going right on this agenda. We've got just a few more items on this agenda, and we're super excited to announce our partnership with Standing in the Gap. You don't want to miss it, sisters. Stay on this call. Some exciting call to action for this week. We sent an email about it, but we know that this past Tuesday, there were some elections. And here to break it down, she loves the numbers. She loves the maps. She loves to break it down. Our very own Sister Holly Holiday is going to break down what happened on Tuesday across the country in the elections. Over to you, Sister
Thank
Holly.
you, Joteka. Yeah, we're going to get right into it. I will drop this in the chat after I finish. So you don't have to put that in the chat. I promise you I'm going to share it. Actually, if you were paying attention, I already dropped it, but I'm going to drop it again. All right, so where are we at? So if you have been following me, you already have caught up with what happened last year. Well, this time on March 3rd, we had elections in 3 places: North Carolina, Texas, and Arkansas. But before we go there, let's remember where we've been. In 2025, I told y'all that what we had to do was we had to lead in voter mobilization, just as we did in our local communities in 2025. We had to be understanding that there are pivotal races where we need to show up and deliver. And most importantly, we had to make sure that civic participation is at the center of every major moment. Well, let's see what happened with that. And for those of you who haven't read the report, here is the QR code. So check it out. All right, let's get into it. We are into the March 3rd primaries. And let's just understand, Black women are not just showing up, we are shaping elections. We are on the ballot again in record numbers. Where are they running? Well, we have 3 states with 3 different, very different political environments, and I'm going to break them down quickly. North Carolina, Texas, and Arkansas. We see again that we are seeing Black women in every office, from Justice of the Peace to the United States Senate. And we'll talk about some of their win rates, some of the incumbency dynamic, and what are we doing with these multi-candidate rates? We got a bunch of Black women running against each other, and what happens? Because I know y'all want to know. Let's start off with the baby state, the smallest state, Arkansas. So what does Arkansas look like? Well, let me tell you something. Arkansas looks like emerging leadership. In Arkansas, we tracked 38 candidates across county and judicial offices in the state legislature. Now, I do want to remind y'all, we only track the women here, but I want to just put a shout out that combine this with some dynamic Black men who are also on the ballot, including Arkansas has the Democratic nominee is a Black man, so check that out. But we ain't talking about them tonight. And so just to understand that out of the 38, we had 17 wins, 8 losses, and 5 are going to the runoff. More on that in a minute. Let's take a look at North Carolina. Now I'm going to spend just a second on North Carolina. How many Black women do you think were on the ballot in North Carolina? Because I really want to go deep, because a lot of our organizations, from Black Women's Leadership Collective to NCNW, Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote, we have a deep commitment in North Carolina. So I personally wanted to make sure that I scoured and caught up with every Black woman I could find. How many do you think that was? Somebody put something in the chat. How many people? Now it's on the slide so y'all can see. 155 Black women were on the ballot in North Carolina. 155. Yes, that is one whole dang state. And what did that result in? 96 wins. 96 wins, 55 losses. Of those 96, 29 ran unopposed, which gives us an overall win rate of 64%. And let me tell you, you want to know why that happened? Because we have been doing the work. This is a reflection of what it looks like when there is infrastructure on the ground. Not infrastructure just created by these campaigns, because you'll hear that. I'm talking about those of you who are involved in civic life every single day. That's the infrastructure that Black women need in order to win. Okay, let's see. I got one more thing on North Carolina. I want to make sure you recognize the incumbency strength here. This is such an important part of the story. Incumbents won, 51 incumbents win, only 9 incumbents lost. And it just demonstrates, do not believe the hype or get caught up in the trap of young versus old. No. Incumbency matters. It matters because that is where our strength comes from. How can we build and keep expanding if we get rid of the foundation? It makes no sense. And I'm speaking specifically, we actually have a race that is going to be in a recall with Congresswoman Fushi. Why? Because they done tricked us into believing that there's some young versus old thing happening. Not at all. Not at all. Do not believe the hype. Don't fall for it. Why? Because here's what starts to happen. We get a whole bunch of Black women running in the same seat, trying to do the same thing. Now, what it does demonstrate is that we have a really deep bench, and that's because of a lot of good work happening in North Carolina. But we had 6 women, 6, running for Mecklenburg County Commission, the same race in one race. And in Northampton County, as an example, 5 Black women competing. Guess who wins? None of them. None of them. Let's make it make sense. Let's make it make sense. If we're going to be out here, let's make it make sense. Okay, I know y'all want to hear about Texas. I was not going to let y'all go without hearing about Texas. Texas gives us a little bit something different. So in Texas, I haven't finished my complete analysis, but I want you to recognize this analysis is based on the state legislature races and the federal races. So first of all, just know that we have the potential, because y'all are really caught up about Jasmine, and I get it, and I'm gonna deal with that in a second. But just know, if we invest in Texas, we have the possibility right now to have a 20% voting block, just black women in the Texas House. These are the kinds of things that leverage power. We had 25 wins, 16 losses, 4 runoffs, and 19 unopposed. Again, unopposed incumbency matters. While the nation was focused on the Texas Senate race, real Texans were focused on building infrastructure and power at the state legislature. This is the long-term work that we need. So, what do you want to know? Incumbents dominated. No black woman candidate lost their, no incumbent lost their primary in Texas. Amazing. We saw that happening in 2025 as well. But I want to know, I know what you really want to know. What are we supposed to do now? Well, it's 3 things. We have to invest in black women's leadership. Do not look for the national political structures. You know who I'm talking about to do this work. We have to invest in ourselves, period. We have to stop using the people who are seeking to divide us, stop using their talking points, and instead focus on educating people about the possibilities. The media has us so focused on the races that we lost that we're not doing the work on the races that are still possible. In Texas, we have the possibility for black women to win in 2 runoff races. Do y'all even know that? No, because y'all focus on some stuff that's done and over. We also have to continue to mobilize voters in our network. Let's talk about Jasmine for a minute. Everybody wants to blame Jasmine. Jasmine did this. Jasmine didn't do that. The party did this. The party didn't do that. Let me talk about black folks. In Dallas County, there are 500,000 registered black people. 163 people came out to vote for Jasmine Cochran. Y'all can do the math. In Harris County, nearly 1 million black voters. This is Houston area, y'all know. And only 189 people came out to vote for Jasmine Crockett. Now, both of these numbers are impressive. Both of these numbers are impressive. But if you really want black people to win, these folks that are registered, we have to get them out to vote. And we're the ones that can do it, because you know what? These are our relatives. These are our friends. These are the people who are in our phone book right now. You can look through and scroll through your contacts right now if you're living in Texas or you know people in Texas, and find people that didn't vote. They are the problem, and that's who we need to be talking to. Okay, I'm getting excited, but I'm about to calm down. I'm calming down. Okay, so what do we see across the states? Very simply, we need to continue to build our governing pipeline. We have the foundation. We need to focus on expanding and advancing the foundation, not getting rid of people, but adding to the numbers, adding to the math. Incumbency matters. Let's keep who we got and add to that. This institutional investment is important. I'm going to tell you something else, especially when it comes to legislatures. It takes a minute to understand how to move a bill, how to move legislation. So the people who know how to do it, y'all want to kick out? That makes no sense at all. Let's bring in new people and let's teach them so we have an evolution going on. Our bench is deep, but we got multiple black women competing for the same seat. We might need to think about that, family. We might need to have a conversation. And of course, we know that structural barriers remain. Federal races are harder to win and more competitive, which means that when you're going for those races and when you're supporting candidates in those races, you want to make sure that you have targeted resources and infrastructure so that we have the option to win. At the end of the day, we have to mobilize and organize voters and building our networks. We have to continue recruiting and supporting Black women candidates. As we win and secure elections and gain seats, this allows us to govern and lead policies that ultimately shape our lives. The data is clear. The movement from organizing to governing is underway and accelerating, but it only works when we work it. So, help me continue to do this research, y'all. Here's the QR code. We got elections still to come. And let me tell you, there are plenty of Black women on the ballot in Mississippi and Illinois, and the Arkansas runoff is coming up March 31st. I'll be back to talk to you. We don't have any primaries in April, so I'll be back in April to tell you about what to expect in May and what happened in March. I will be around in after hours to continue this conversation for those who really want to hear what I think. In case you missed it, we'll do it again. Joteka, thank you so much for giving me a few minutes to kind of break it down for the people.
Well, thank you for breaking it down. Thank you so much for giving us the data and the numbers. We know data is queen and king. In our case, the queen. Thank you so much, Sister Holly. Sisters, we are super excited. You all received an email. Let us see in the chat. Did you receive the email announcing Win with Black Women's partnership with Standing in the Gap and our continued advocacy for our sister, AJ Owens? Let's see if you could just say if you got the email. Did you open the email? Did you forward it to a sister? Okay, y'all saying no, 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 no. Okay, so go to your email and search for the perfect neighbor or watch party or standing in the gap, any of those keywords. You will find the email. Yes. Okay. Sister Alicia McLeod says she opened it and she forwarded. Sisters, let us welcome back to Win with Black Women. She is a sister to all of us, a sister to me, Sister Takima Robinson, and our OG Florida. Everybody knows Sister Yolanda Cash Jackson. Welcome to Win with Black Women. We all know you, sister. We love you, your leadership in Florida. Thank you so much. But we are so excited to announce here on this call. Now, we're going to start dropping the link in the chat over and over and over and over and over and over again, because we are launching, as you all know, the case and the movement for justice for our sister AJ Owens has been an integral part of Win with Black Women. Mother Pam and Sister Takima and other sisters, Sister Yolanda Cash Jackson and other sisters all throughout Florida and across this country, many of you lifted up the call for justice, donated and supported our sister AJ's family that was left behind, her children and her mother, and descended to the ground in Florida to continue to advocate before her murderer was arrested and before our sister was even laid to rest. All of you were advocating and standing in solidarity with these two sisters that are on this call with us tonight. And a few weeks ago, Mother Pamela, who is AJ's mother, came on to again thank us, which she doesn't need to thank us because we are doing just what Black women do, which is standing in the gap. But also to ask us to continue to center AJ, justice for AJ, and not just AJ, but others that are like her and families that find themselves in that situation. And she asked us, in the midst of what we know is that The Perfect Neighbor, which is a renowned award-winning documentary that debuted on Netflix, which became, thanks to Black women all across the country and many of you, the #1 documentary in the history of Netflix worldwide. Not in the state of Florida, not in the United States, but worldwide. That documentary, which is directed by an amazing woman of color and produced by Black women, including our very own Takima Robinson. I'm giving you a whole new name, sis. And other Black women who saw fit to make sure that we tell our story. And that's an important part when we talk about Win with Black women, and we talk about how as Black women we need to be everywhere, but sharing our story. And that documentary is now nominated for an Academy Award, an Oscar. And we came and we talked about that Oscar nomination. But what we as Black women and all of us here, what we know is that it's not about the awards, that it's not about the Oscars. It is about justice for our sister, AJ Owens. And Mother Pamela asked us to continue to lift up justice for AJ and to continue to challenge stand your ground laws. And so, together with Standing in the Gap Fund and the Sisters of Win with Black Women in Florida, we have launched a Standing in the Gap Win with Black Women challenge for us to host 100 watch conversations and parties. Now, we just using the word watch party because it's not a party, of course, because we know the seriousness of the conversation. But these watch parties are meant for us to gather, to have conversation, and to take action. We want to tell the world that 100 Black women, now I believe, now we got 44,000 on one Zoom. If we can raise $1.6 million in 100 minutes, I know we can get 100 sisters to commit to hosting a watch party between tonight and next Saturday. I know we can do it. And when you host a watch party, it can be as small and as intimate as yourself and your family going to Netflix and turning on that documentary and taking the toolkit that has been developed by our partners at Standing in the Gap and following the prompts in that toolkit to have a conversation, to watch, then have a conversation, and then to take action. That is what we want to do. There's a lot of people talking about this film because it's got all the Oscar buzz. But what we want to do in this moment, as all this conversation is happening, is to center Black women and to center justice for AJ, her children, her family, and others like her, and the good work that folks in Florida continue to do, like our sister Yolanda Cash Jackson, to challenge the stand your ground laws. So I had to say that, so I had to get at it out there. Hopefully tonight, I hope somebody at Standing in the Gap can look at the back end and see how many. And if you are going to commit, please write in the chat if you will commit. And you can do something with your church or your civic group, your sorority, your friend group, your group chat. It can be as large as you want, or it can be as small as you want. All right. But sisters, there's been 1,800 of us on this call. And I think we could get 100. Because when the mother of someone who has been gunned down in front of her children asks us to continue to center justice in this moment, I think that's something that we could do. I want to welcome back Sister Takima Robinson and Sister Yolanda Cash Jackson. I want to turn it over to you to talk about why this is so important. And Sister Yolanda Cash Jackson, for you to talk about why this is important from the standpoint of someone that is living in Florida, that is in Tallahassee at the state capitol, continuing to challenge these laws, where this happened, but also for Black women all across America, not just in Florida, because these laws are all across the country. Over to you, Takima, and then you, Sister Yolanda.
Well, first of all, thank you all so much. Thank you, Joteka. I keep saying every time I come here, I remember being on this call before we had an arrest and had even laid AJ to rest. And so this has been a space of comfort for us, a place that we've been able to come back to throughout this journey before there ever was a movie called The Perfect Neighbor on Netflix. So I am grateful, and I want to start there in gratitude for this sister circle that has held all of us. AJ was my sister's best friend right? And so this entire work, this entire movement has been about sisterhood, has been about showing how we show up for each other when things like this happen. And so I am grateful for this partnership with Win with Black Women. I'm grateful as soon as we got that Oscar nomination, I got a text message from Joteka. What we gonna do? What are we gonna do to make sure that we bring home that statue next Sunday? And not because we made this movie for entertainment or for statues. We made this movie to make sure we could impact the world. And so it is more important to us that this movie be used for education, which is why we're really asking folks to host these sister circles, these gatherings, these watch parties. When you register, you will immediately receive a toolkit that will support you in facilitating and having a conversation. Stand Your Ground was created in Florida, right? We all know Stand Your Ground through the death of our brother Trayvon Martin, and then it's gone on to claim the life of AJ Owens. It exists in 38 states in some form or fashion. Most of you on this call right now are in states where Stand Your Ground exists. And so we know it's a dangerous law. We know it's a law that has its roots in racism and vigilantism and white vigilantism, and it needs to come down. And so that is why we're asking folks to be in community, to gather, and to be in discussion about the issues that this movie raises. And we thank you so much for partnering with us. I always say Pam Diaz, who is AJ's mother, is one of those women in the lineage of Mamie Till, right? Who made a really, really hard decision to share the worst moments of her family's life to bring awareness to racial violence in our country. And so I, am so, so grateful that Win with Black Women honored her request for all of us to stand in sisterhood and in solidarity and screening this film in the next week and cheering us on to the Oscars next Sunday. I think you're muted, Joteka.
You would think after 5.5 years I would have this, I would have this together. But Sister Yolanda Cash Jackson, you're in Tallahassee. Can you talk to us about why this is so important, not only in Florida, but across the country?
Thank you, Joteka. Thank you, sisters. This is so important because all the action is in the states. As you indicated, Stand Your Ground law started in Florida and has been a thorn in our side and our existence since that time. We're in a supermajority in Florida, but they're fighting. And so to have Black women to stand and to speak out um, in support of the Owens family is extremely, extremely important. The other thing is that geographically, this is important. Trayvon Martin's death happened almost in the same region. I don't know if you knew that. And the Ocala area is a growing area for families coming for it to be affordable. It's important that we speak out and support this sister. I don't know if you've had a chance those of you who haven't had a chance to see the movie, you just is chilling, especially for a mom, for a sister, for anyone defending their children, just something as simple as that. But it's really, really important that we speak out. And the thing that I've been we've been sharing on our Florida cause is it does not matter. You're going to live in districts where you have folks in charge that are not of your party. That should not keep you from speaking. That should not keep you from organizing. So we'll be having a watch party tomorrow night in Florida. If you're in Florida, hopefully you got the notices. We send them out to almost 3,000 folks that are on our listserv, and we hope we have a great turnout and encouraging people to do the same. It's a very exciting time. We're in session right now. But because the supermajority is fighting, I don't know when we're gonna get out. So I describe it as a marriage where all the parties are sleeping in different bedrooms. So the Republicans are fighting, and this is an opportunity for us to speak out on behalf of our community.
Well, thank you both so much. So, sisters, what we're asking, um, and this is what we're asking. So we are going to put again in the chat. We put it in there several times for you to sign up to host a watch party. Now, why is it important? Because we got to keep our data in track. Our goal is 100 Black women from across the country committing to host watch parties and conversations. Now, you will get a toolkit. You could also get it here too as well, but we will email you a toolkit once you sign up. So there's a system. When you sign up, we'll get your name, we'll get your information. What we'll also get, and we're asking for you to share a quote and to approve us, because what we're going to do, Rachel Norlander, we're going to put out a press release and we're going to tell the world that Black women across this country in this moment, while everybody's talking about The Perfect Neighbor because it's on an Oscar, it's poised to win an Oscar, but in this moment, Black women are centering and continuing to advocate for justice for our sister AJ Owens, as her mother Pam has asked us to do. And that we're continuing to talk about the very reason why this film and the subject of this film, because it's important that Black women's voices continue to elevate what happened, not just that there's a movie. Now, we're very proud of this documentary, and we want that documentary to win the Oscar. I want to see the producers and that director get up and accept an Oscar on the national stage, because I know they're going to talk about justice for AJ Owens. They're going to use that moment for advocacy because they're advocates, they're organizers, and they're using culture to continue to organize us. But we want you to register, and we want you to provide us with a quote of why you're doing this. You're also going to get a social media kit, because what we want you to do is, after you finish your screening, and again, it could be in your living room, it could be at your church, it could be you could do something large, and it also can be virtual. So when you get the toolkit will give you instruction on how to do it virtually. So you can do it virtually with a group of people. If you got a group chat, or I may ask my line sisters, would they join me for a virtual viewing party? Plus, I'm going to commit to doing an in-person viewing party as well. So, hey, you got two from me. But we want afterwards for there to be a guided conversation. And we're so grateful for the guided conversation, and the toolkit that you will get is a very comprehensive toolkit that our partners at Standing in the Gap. Then you'll get information on how you could take action, how you could donate to the Standing in the Gap Fund, how you can call your legislators, how you can continue to advocate and center justice and have a conversation. And we want you to go to social media. So we're going to ask that you just pick up your cell phone and just post a video of you talking. We also have graphics that you can post, but what did you feel? What did you think? And using the hashtags that we have provided, Win with Black Women, Standing in the Gap Fund, Justice for AJ Owens, so that we can track that. And that's our program, our commitment. I don't know, Takima, if you can look on the back end and see how many numbers we got. But I mean, it's been about 1,800 of us on this call tonight. I think we should be able to get at least 100. I think we could get more than 100. And we are asking that you commit. And by committing, we ask that you just sign up, and you'll get all the details. You can either do it in person, or you can do it virtually, and you can do it at home. This is on Netflix, and many people have the Netflix platform, so it's very easy for you to do this. And we also have a virtual option. I want to again thank you, Sister Takima, and thank you, Sister Yolanda. And sisters, I know we're going to knock it out of the park, but more importantly, we're going to elevate in this moment and show that Black women are still focused on justice for not only our sister AJ Owens, but all others that will find themselves in the same situation because we continue to have draconian laws like stand your ground.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sisters, we have had an amazing, wonderful night. And we know it's International Women's Day. And before we bring up our sister Chantel with our announcement, we wanted to play this beautiful moment that took place at the 57th annual NAACP Image Awards. And then you'll hear from Sister Chantel.
I like this quote, that the definition of hell is on your last day on earth, the person you became meets the person that you could have become. I say that about our nation. I say that about myself, that there is no becoming until you face the depth and the darkness of your own soul. There is no becoming without healing and without a radical acceptance of one's truth. I know that about myself growing up in poverty. Little chocolate girl with thick lips and wide nose in Rhode Island in 1965. I didn't see hope. I didn't see dreams. I just wanted to be somebody. I wanted success because I thought it was significance. And no one can describe the journey of going from the little chocolate girl searching for hope, searching for God, and the girl living a transcendent life. That is a hero's journey.
Well, that is a hero's journey. That was just awesome. And I am going to give you your announcements for tonight. Good evening, everyone. Sister Chantel here. And let's see what we have going for us. All right, here are our announcements for March the 8th. We've got our next meeting. It's going to be on March the 22nd. So let's go ahead and bookmark that. You know, we meet at 8:30, March the 22nd. Following that, we'll meet on April the 12th and April the 26th. You know, we got 39 days until Power Rising. Are you going? I'll be there. Will you be there? I'd love to see you in person. Click that registration link. Let's all meet up in Chicago. And we have another opportunity to meet up. In October, NCNW will be holding their national convention. Are you a member? I'm a member. Join us. Become a member. It's economically feasible. It's a great organization. All of the sisters are in the organization. All of the sister organizations are in the organization. So join everybody. Let's meet up in Atlanta, October the 21st through the 25th. But before then, there's going to be an NCNW virtual Purple Power Policy Summit. That's a whole lot of P's. And it's going to be happening April the 6th through the 9th at 8 p.m. It's virtual, so you can watch it. Click on over to NCNW's website, follow them so you will get all of the notifications of their great meetings that are happening. We also have happening this week, March the 11th through the 15th, we've got the Black Women's Roundtable Women of Power National Summit. Will you be there? We're going to be there. So hopefully we might meet up this week. Higher Heights has started again their Sunday brunch. Look at all of the fabulous sisters that they had on Sunday brunch today. They will be doing it next Sunday and the following Sunday. And you know what? It's really, really easy. Just go to the Higher Heights YouTube channel, like and subscribe, and you will get notifications of their Sunday brunch. They stream them on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Just a reminder, we've said this a few times, the CBC Foundation has a summer internship program. The application window closes this month, March the 27th. So you've got a few more days. And there's another virtual information session coming up. So if you have questions, jump on there, find out more. There is a young person who is probably looking for an internship. Make sure that you send this information their way. There's also a scholarship program for a number of areas. That application process closes on March the 27th as well. Our good sister Soul, you know what? She loves to take care of us. And so she hosts these virtual soulful retreats. She's been doing this monthly for a good long time. And so if you want to feel a little bit more of that spice love, join her on March the 21st. It'll be happening at 8 a.m. Pacific time and 11 a.m. Eastern time. You can visit her website or use the QR code to sign up. We also still have our federal workers initiatives. They are meeting on Thursdays via Zoom. And because, we're not meeting again until April, I've listed all of the dates that they're going to meet between now and our next meeting. So write that down, track it, bookmark it, and join the federal workers. What's happening in our states? We're going to have an all states meeting. It is happening tomorrow at 8 p.m. There's just one meeting, and you can click that bit.ly link and register for that meeting. Find out what is happening. Little birdie told me that that Holly is going to be rolling out something really, really hot. So you might want to hop on that meeting and find out what it is. See you tomorrow. So our states are going to be meeting. North Carolina, they will be meeting on March the 22nd and April the 5th. Can't even read my writing, y'all. New York is going to be meeting on March the 23rd. DC will be holding their huddle on March the 10th, the 24th, and April the 7th. Maryland will be holding their call on March the 22nd. Massachusetts will be holding their call on the 23rd. California will be meeting on March the 16th. All of their links are there. If you know a sister somewhere, you want to connect them, send them the slide. Texas is going to be meeting on March the 16th. Arizona will be meeting on the 12th, the 19th, and the 26th of March. Washington State will be meeting on March the 11th and April the 8th. Nebraska will be meeting on March the 26th. Pennsylvania will be meeting on March the 11th and April the 8th. And Michigan will be meeting on March the 23rd. Look at here, North Carolina, they are going to have, North Carolina had all of those women on the ballot. I wonder why. They're doing the work. So they're holding a North Carolina 100 county organizing call. That's going to happen on this Tuesday at 7 p.m. And they're going to be talking about the primary update. They're going to be talking about some county events and Black women on the ballot in 2026. They got a lot to talk about because they got, what was that, 155 folks on that ballot, Black women running all over the state. And look, our good sister Holly will be over there with that conversation. And notice that this is a collaborative because when we talk about that infrastructure and that foundation, we've got Win with Black Women, we've got NCNW, we've got Power Rising, and we've got the Black Women's Leadership Collective. All of these groups coming together. That's the infrastructure that is helping to support Black women in North Carolina. Black Women, Win with Black Women Florida, just to remind you, you can join their call tomorrow. And it's going to be 8:30 tomorrow instead of 8. But they're going to be talking about the perfect neighbor, and they're going to be highlighting that national project as well as doing some legislative updates. And so you can click that link, but note it is 8:30 instead of 8. In Georgia, they are doing a partnership with Skylark Films. That will be happening on March the 22nd. I'm not sure if they still have seats available because they were going fast. So click that link and find out if you can join them to look at this documentary about the harms that Black women face at work. And they will be also having a panel discussion. If you know a Black woman who is running in 2026, scan the QR code, send them the QR code. We would love to make sure that we are tracking all of the Black women who are running for office. It truly takes a village. We don't want to miss a sister. So if you know a sister, send us a sister. Jewel is doing our wonderful email. Lots of things are happening, and this is a great way that we can share all of those things with each other. So if you have a job, consulting, or funding opportunities that you want to share with the network, send that to Jewel Love's attention at info@winwithblackwomen.org. Get it to us by each Thursday by 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, our Sunday announcements. Send us Black women-led and centered events. Subject line announcements, send it to info@winwithblackwomen.org. Send that to us this Saturday by 6 p.m. Eastern Time before the Sunday call. One day we are going to get that, hopefully maybe next time, but that's the deadline. Please send it to us so we can get them in the announcements. And lastly, if you'd like to send some love to Win with Black Women, this is our C4 donation link. You can scan that QR code and just send a little love offering because the Zoom ain't free. Joteka, I'm turning it back over to you.
Because Zoom is certainly
No,
not
Zoom is
free.
not. Girl, I saw that Zoom bill and I was like, what? Wait a minute, what?
It
It's
costs for us
really,
to be able to come together. Thank
it
you all
really
so much. And
does.
for those of you all who donate, whether or not it's $1 or even a prayer, or some of you have given us quite generous donations, we appreciate it because it allows us to be able to modestly be able to continue this work. As you know, this is pretty much an all volunteer operation. We're volunteering our time and our treasure and our brilliance as Black women. And that is what we've all done. Sisters, I know we generally like to keep this call to an hour and a half or no more than 2 hours. But I believe we had such wisdom tonight. And sometimes it's important to just pause. And it's International Women's Day. And we had to celebrate. And so to close us out in the spirit, and we remind you, if you would like at the end of closing in the spirit, you can go into our after hours room. I know they will probably close down around midnight, but there will be an after hours room that you can go into and communicate with sisters. But we thank you for being with us tonight. Yes, Sister Meeks, tonight was real, all caps. It was very filling for all of us. So many powerful words from so many sister leaders. So let us thank Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. Let us thank Brittany Packnett Cunningham. Let us thank our good sister leader, the incomparable Dr. Janetta Besh Cole. Let us thank Senator Laphonza Butler. Let us thank Sister Alexis McGill Johnson. Let us thank Bishop Leah Daughtry. Let us thank Deacon Karen Finney. Let us thank Sister Holly Holiday. Let us thank Sister Takima Robinson. Let us thank Sister Yolanda Cash Jackson and all of the women that power Win with Black women on a day-to-day basis. We thank you. And let us thank who opened us in the spirit, Sister Peachy. And now let us welcome Sister Elizabeth Cook to close us in the spirit.
Good evening, everyone. Such powerful speeches. And especially since today is International Women's Day, and the theme is Give to Gain. So first, everyone, I want you just to take a deep breath in. Slowly let it out. Take another deep breath in. Let it out. Proverbs 31, chapter 31, verses 25 says, "She is clothed with strength and dignity, and she can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue." You know, that doesn't describe a perfect woman. This describes a prepared woman, a woman who shines with the strength of a ruby forged in the pain and joys of the fires of life. A woman who can survive what's ahead. A woman who has learned that her wisdom is a gift to every room she enters. And you are that woman. And you were called to this space and this moment. Every woman in this space was called to this moment to gather, to witness, to rise together. Believe that when we rise together, we will soar on wings like eagles. We will run and not grow weary. We will walk and not be faint. You are clothed in strength and dignity. You carry the wisdom of grandmothers, the prayers of mothers, and the dreams of daughters yet to come. So as you leave this space today, carry it with you. Carry the protection. Carry the truth. Carry the fire that forged rubies. Lead in the boardroom or a classroom or a kitchen. Lead with your voice and with your silence. Lead by showing up for each other and for yourself. Let every seed planted in this call take root. Let every woman feel seen. Let every woman who is discouraged leave feeling loved and needed. Our resolve is limitless. Our movement is unstoppable. Our unity is unshakable. Together we win. Together we heal. Together we rise. So be it. Ashe, Ashe. You are enough. Good night.